Hello and welcome to Cinevision 2, very much the vegan jungle-themed arcade bar to Cinevision 1's Clarence Pier Arcade in Southsea with hundreds of arcade machines, smoke-filled and a wimpy on the first floor. But anyway, I thought we'd look at the Amstrad PC2000 series problems here on this video via the pages of New Computer Express, which tracks the issues that Amstrad had with this machine. These machines were the follow-ups to the very successful PC1512 and 1640. The PC2000 series launched at the end of 1988, and I've got one here. That doesn't work at the moment, but I've used it for Cinevision before. Yes, they're very plastic on the outside, but extremely good value at the time. They got good reviews initially until the problems hit. So we've got the February the 4th edition of New Computer Express, Future Publishing's weekly computer magazine. I will just go full screen, and on the front page we have details of the Konix multi-system. Whatever happened to that, we all know what happened to that. There's a million videos on YouTube all about that. But on page 3 we have hard disk fault hits new Amstrad PCs. Amstrad was last week warning its dealers of a fault which has emerged on its PC2086 hard disk machine. The mistake was found to be in the hard disk controller, and according to Amstrad is found in some 15% of machines. When it occurs, the 2086 crashes because of data read or write errors. Dealers are being urged to check the machines that they have in stock to stop them getting out to the general public. It's going to be a bit late for that, I'm afraid. The problem can be solved by soldering a tiny disk capacitor between a pin in the hard drive and a suitable ground point. Amstrad says with this operation can be done with extreme caution without having to take the hard disk out of its cabinet. Amstrad is urging its dealers to perform the PC surgery as soon as possible. Amstrad has experienced more problems than usual over the past few months. Last year, the new PC Spectrum Plus 2 was having compatibility problems with some earlier versions, and some Amstrad PCWs imported from Germany weren't fully compatible with existing peripherals. Obviously we all know about the Spectrum Plus 2A issues, differences in the ROM, and the Amstrad PCW thing was a small issue where Amstrad redistributed some stock back from Germany. Of course, in Germany they didn't allow edge connectors, so of course they had proper Centronics connectors on them, and lo and behold, people suddenly found that although the Centronics is an improvement, nothing worked if you plugged anything into it. But then again, how many PCW owners plug anything into the machines other than the supplied printers? So that was the start of the issues with the PC2000 series, but of course there was, as we know, far more to it than that. Issue 16, just 2 weeks later, my year of disaster, Amstrad in crisis in 88, nothing new in 89. So, Amstrad's darkest hour. Profits dip, share price plummeted, no new computers in 89. Amstrad boss and champion of cheap and cheerful micros, Alan Sugar, last week faced the worst week of his business career thus far. Don't worry, mate, you're soon going to be buying Tottenham, and it's going to get far worse. His extraordinary company turned in an amazing drop in profits of 16% for the half year. Sugar's company has traditionally rocked even optimistic Amstrad followers with leap after leap in profitability. Sugar, perhaps for the first time, has had to face the music. The abrasive East End Barrow boy made good, surprised city experts by taking the unusual step of explaining away his unfortunate predicament by telling the truth. 1988 had been a year of disaster. He was promptly rewarded with front-page news and soul-destroying activity on Amstrad's share price. Within one day, Amstrad was worth £130 million less. Sugar himself saw his personal fortune drop by a staggering £57 million. It goes into details about the DRAM shortages. There were massive problems at this time with RAM shortages and so on. It says their prices doubled, for example. But we've got details there of the PC2286 technical problems and the issues there. Amstrad sold £349 million worth of kit in the last 6 months of 1988. This is £2 million less than the same period last year. Well, that's not too bad, really. £349 million worth of kit is still pretty good. Amstrad Sugar's reasons to be tearful. DRAM shortages mean the cutbacks on supplies of popular but low-priced machines such as the single-drive versions of the 1512 and 1640 and the Sinclair Micros. Technical problems for the PC2000 series meant they arrived late, and also there were problems. Number 3 is the problem of Snyder and Amstrad parting, and therefore Snyder dumping all their stock on the market at cheap prices, which is also why those PCWs came back, because they were destined for Germany. So you think Amstrad's woes might be over, but come April, issue 23, bug shocker hits Amstrad. MS-DOS 4 replaced on top-range PCs. This is the one people forget about, actually. That, of course, the PC2000 series came with MS-DOS 4, and it turned out it was bugged. Amstrad's upmarket PCs have been once again dogged by problems. Their second major computer headache this year. The hard disks on their 2386 machines and 2286 machines, I think, as well, have been giving read-write errors, and there'd also other problems reported. So apparently this one's down to Microsoft, because they've got a bug in MS-DOS 4, and it happens when read failures occur whenever parts of the disk separated by exactly 32 megabytes are accessed in close succession. Chairman Alan Sugar said the decision to use Microsoft's current state-of-the-art MS-DOS 4 had backfired through no fault of our own. I am upset that until now our 386 has not earned the reputation it deserves, when in fact our hardware has proved to be very reliable and the problem has been caused by MS-DOS 4. Microsoft commented, there were a few bugs on version 4 of MS-DOS, not just on the 386 but on all of the machines using it. This one only became apparent under relatively unusual circumstances and was pointed out to us by Amstrad. Amstrad and Countdown host Nick Hewer told Express, no customers have been affected by the problem. We have fixed the bug ourselves with the approval of Microsoft and have shipped the amended version of DOS 4 to our dealership. So, yeah, I mean, why, if that's a news story, people must have been affected. But again, it just doesn't help the image of the machine. Again, it's not Amstrad's fault. The hard disk controller, as we know now, wasn't Amstrad's fault. And we've got this bad publicity via MS-DOS 4. It's not helping Amstrad at all. 2 weeks later, and how I'll smash those hackers, jail them for 10 years, says some MP or other. How I lost £37 million in a day, Alan Sugar. Amstrad boss Alan Sugar saw almost £37 million wiped off his personal fortune during the space of 1 day last week. Last Thursday, some £120 million was wiped off the stock market value of Amstrad. Sugar owns 45% of the company. Shares took a dive of 21.5%, effectively lopping 15% off the firm's value. The disastrous day's trading followed gloomy predictions from Sugar himself that year-end profits would be down. It's due to the appalling shortages and delays of Amstrad's 24-strong range of new high-end PC2000s. Amstrad has also been dogged by delays caused by the DRAM chip shortage and technical hitches such as the hard disk faults. Amstrad had introduced the PC2000s last September and has been running out for months. However, anyone rushing out to pick up a machine has been frustrated as deliveries have been postponed. And all this leads to Amstrad being lumbered with a load of these machines, because it's bad publicity after bad publicity for machines that are perfectly decent. They're very good PCs, aside from these bugs. Very good value. But when you've got Amstrad with the 1512 and 1640 selling like hotcakes as they were and dominating the market and making huge profits for Amstrad, these machines were supposed to come in and do exactly the same. And it's just bad publicity after bad publicity. We move forward to June issue 32 and details about the Atari Lynx. And we also have an interesting article here, Amstrad's console investigation. So, one hand Alan Sugar saying no new machines in 89, but a new games machine is being investigated by Amstrad, Express can reveal. Ideally, the firm wants to show off its new console at the PC show in September, but time constraints make that unlikely. Amstrad is hoping to type a badging deal rather than dive into any exhausting research and development program. In effect, this means that it will take over another company's machine and slap an Amstrad logo on the front. The Brentwood boys have been in intensive negotiations with at least one console manufacturer with this in mind. So, more details about the share price dropping down. And, yes, Amstrad saying we're giving the PC200 a lot of backing in the autumn. We go forward to July, issue 36. And NEC apparently launching the PC Engine in the UK. Nothing will come of that, of course. But we have more PC2000 news. Up to its old tricks, Amstrad offers buyers cheaper PCs. Amstrad has slashed between £50 and £150 off the price of its 2086 machines. The market leader in low-cost PCs is aiming to increase its already substantial share of the market, reckoned by research firm Romtech to be 48.8% of the sector. That's for the 8086. While Amstrad have nearly 50% of the 8086 market in the UK. While the entry-level machine will remain at $599, all higher models will be cheaper from August the 1st. We've seen the PC286 take more than 14% of the 8086 market in the first 6 months of production, and this is in the face of price slashing from IBM, said marketing director Malcolm Miller. Those manoeuvres only had a marginal effect. The time is right to offer people a tremendous incentive to buy our 286 models. He added, we're giving away an added value of £550 with every model. And, this is the response, isn't it? Amstrad must be going, oh, all this bad publicity is hitting us. For all this bullish behaviour from Amstrad, there are problems. We move forward to August and issue 40, page 2. News of Chase HQ being launched for Christmas. But this is where Amstrad have announced that the task of swapping models of its 286 and 386 machines for fault-free PCs is nearly completed. No figures are being given, but it's understood some 7,000 computers have been involved. Less than 3 weeks ago, Amstrad stated it was going to exchange all of the hard disk models of its 286 and 386 models after complaints of reliability. Those initial problems that we heard about first didn't go away. There were just repeated issues with these machines and the hard disk controllers, and proven again that Amstrad was supplied with faulty hard disk controllers, and in the end the only solution was to take the lot back, all the affected models, and just swap the controller out. We've managed to exchange almost all the stock out there, commented the spokeswoman. The feedback we're getting is extremely positive. Users are pleased with the speed and operation, and so is the speed of then operation, and so is the trade. Typo. In an effort to mop up these users who haven't yet contacted Dictaphone, the company undertaking the exchanging program on behalf of Amstrad, the firm is sending out a letter to every person on its books who has bought the relevant machine. Always fill in your warranty card, right? I didn't see in any of these reports the fact that at some point in the last few weeks, Amstrad have just gone to Dictaphone and the tape recorder people, but also had a kind of support operation and just paid them to go and sort out all the issues with the 286 machines and 386 machines, that they would sort it all out, and at a great cost. And I haven't seen a quote about that in New Computer Express. I must have missed it. But yeah, that's something Alan Sugar's talked about before, that they just had to bite the bullet and go, right, we've got to get people in to get these machines in. And I'll say it again, you can talk about, why did this happen? Well, it's testing part of it, I guess, because if you think of a company like Commodore, Amstrad, although they had a huge share of the market and one of the largest PC retailers in the world at this time, they weren't the size of, in terms of employees and offices, Commodore, where there'd be all these engineers everywhere testing this stuff and, having something that, resembled a kind of as you'd expect, Amstrad were a relatively small company based in Brentwood with some offices in Hong Kong, and they were doing everything themselves. And these machines are far more complicated than something like a PCW or a PC, or even a 2086, a 1512 or 1640, which 1640 have and 1512 have one of the largest gate arrays ever made. This is getting very complicated now, and I don't think they had the ability in-house to test these machines to the degree you needed to, that once the punters got their hands on them, if you see what I mean. And I think, it's not their fault that the hard disk controllers were faulty, that MS-DOS was faulty, but this should have been picked up before these computers got anywhere near the public. And the other thing with these machines is these are the kind of last bespoke PCs, if you see what I mean. They're not... You start to get into an era now where these computers in the future Amstrads, the 3000 series, are essentially modular, standardised bits bolted together. You haven't got an Amstrad motherboard with custom chips on it and all sorts of things with somebody else's hard disk controller bolted in. You've got a kind of standardised board and everything. It becomes, you haven't got these gate arrays and everything going on. It all becomes far more standardised and heads towards that era where you and I were building PCs, from the mid-90s onwards. You buy a motherboard, you buy a processor, you buy a sound card, and what have you. 96, 97 perhaps. And it's all standard, and you might get it all working, or it might not work. With this, essentially, Amstrad have kind of built the motherboard themselves and then bolted on these other things onto it. And, they've been let down by these people, but they haven't tested it enough themselves. But I hope that's just a little insight into some of the publicity surrounding the PC2000 series. And they're nice machines if you're going to buy a PC from the era. They're not, the plastic case makes them lighter and easier to store. Mine's blown up because one of the power supply caps has gone. They're nice to work on. Bits of plastic snap off, obviously because of the age. But of course, they don't rust. You've got to watch the batteries in the compartment that sits beneath the monitor. I mean, I don't have a monitor, but there were batteries in there. Those had leaked and gone through the case and onto the power supply. But I cleaned that off, got the rust off. It was fine. Nice machines, non-standard hard disk as well. So I'm going to watch out for that. But PCs of that era. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little look into the PC2000 series. It's not a documentary. It's not thorough. I've clearly missed out some news reports, but that's a little bit of the coverage featured in New Computer Express. Thanks for watching.